Hello, friends. JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan. And I'm going to ask a rhetorical question. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Have you been on every nutrition plan on planet Earth, and yet you haven't managed to find anything sustainable? If you give me the next 10 minutes, I'm going to unlock some incredible nuggets for you that will give you freedom around food. I'm sure you've heard of the word insulin, and today we're going to touch on 8 points on why it's important to have clarity around insulin, because I believe clarity is power. If we know why we're doing something, most likely we will continue to do that thing. So today our title is The Power of Controlling Insulin Spikes in Your Diet. I guess the first question is, what is insulin? Insulin is a storage hormone produced by your pancreas. Its primary role is to help you regulate blood sugar levels by acting as a key that unlocks your cells and allows glucose, sugar from food, to enter and be used for energy. Think of insulin as your storage manager when you eat. It decides whether energy will be used immediately for movement, brain activity, etc., or stored in your liver, muscle, or fat tissue for later use. In the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan framework, insulin determines how full your bucket is. This is where we get the name from, okay? When insulin levels are chronically elevated, your bucket never gets emptied, meaning your body never taps into stored fat for fuel. Number two, I think it's important to understand how insulin works when we eat, okay? So when we eat carbohydrates, especially starchy, processed, sugary ones, your blood glucose rises. In response, your pancreas has to release insulin to bring those levels back down. So here's how the sequence works, okay? You eat something, glucose enters your bloodstream, the pancreas releases insulin. Insulin tells those cells to absorb the glucose, excess glucose stored first in your liver and muscles as glycogen, right? This gets stored. Once that glycogen stores are full, the remaining glucose, that stuff that stays there, is stored as fat, aka adipose tissue. Excuse me. So the more often you spike insulin through frequent snacking of sugary foods, refined carbs, the less opportunity your body has to burn stored fat, because insulin locks fat stores. It's not just junk food that stores these insulin in these three areas, right? In the liver, in the muscle, or in adipose tissue. It's things that oftentimes we think are healthy. Things like rice, potatoes, breads, pasta, legumes, yogurts, right? All these things lock insulin. So I think oftentimes I hear people say, JT, I don't really eat a lot of sugar. This is not really something in my diet. But when you go back and you look at the things that they're eating, they're consistently 2-3 times a day. They're eating rice, potatoes, bread, legumes, yogurts, things of this nature. And this stuff locks that insulin into your system. Okay. So number 3, I think it's important also to understand where insulin stores energy, right? How does this get stored? Where does it get stored? So insulin stores energy primarily in 3 places. Liver, right, stores glycogen for short-term energy. Muscle tissue also stores glycogen for movement and exercise. And adipose tissue, as I mentioned earlier, aka fat tissue, is long-term energy storage, okay? When it gets stored as adipose tissue, it's often at times what keeps you in the hamster wheel, okay? Meaning that you're on track, you're losing weight, but all of a sudden you do any little thing that is off, right? And the weight comes right back on. This is because you're operating at a surplus and you have glycogen stored. That glycogen quickly replenishes the weight in your body. And when insulin is high, fat burning is turned off. Okay. Your body will always choose glucose as its main source of energy when it's available. This is why constant snacking on high carb diets keeps you stuck in a storage state versus a burning state. In the EYB plan system, the Empty Your Bucket plan system, what this really means is that lowering your insulin often enough is so. Repito esa parte. In the EYB system, Empty Your Bucket plan means lowering insulin often enough so your body can access fat for energy, not constantly tapping off the bucket with glucose. Number 4, foods that spike insulin the most. I think this is also important because I think there's a ton of misconceptions out there. And I want to make this very clear to you, okay? Some foods out there cause sharp, rapid rises in insulin, the kind that prevent fat loss and cause energy crashes. Things such as refined carbs, white rice, white bread, pasta, pastries, cereals, cookies, sugary foods like soda, juices, candy, desserts, right? Processed snacks like chips, crackers, granola bars, even healthy sugar bombs like smoothie and IKEA bowls and protein bars and some fruits like bananas, especially the ripe ones, right? Pineapples, mangoes, watermelons, grapes, cherries, dry fruit, all this stuff is keeping you stuck, right? And so these foods cause glucose spikes, large insulin releases, right? Blood sugar, and then this causes crashes. These crashes cause cravings, and these cravings cause overeating. That's the roller coaster effect we're trying to avoid here. Number 5, foods that keep insulin stable. We've talked a lot about the bad stuff, okay? Let's talk about the stuff that keeps your insulin stable. There's a lot of bad stuff out there, but on the other hand, these foods promote stable energy and fat burning by keeping insulin low. So things like lean proteins, chicken, fish, turkey, eggs, tofu, right? All these things are really, really good to keep insulin levels low. Healthy fats like avocados, olive oil, coconut oil, ghee, yolks, all these things are great to keep insulin low. Also, low starch vegetables like spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, lean greens are amazing to keep those levels low. If you are in a phase 2 or 3 of the empty your bucket plan, then we can start considering what I call slow digesting carbs, or most popularly known as complex carbs in moderation. Things like quinoa, lentils, sweet potatoes, oats, brown rice, right? Once again, ideally in phase 2 or 3 of the empty your bucket nutrition plan. Within the EYB plan, we balance these foods intentionally, right? Each meal includes a protein, a fiber, healthy fat to slow down glucose absorption and minimize insulin spikes. This is what we call insulin-friendly pairing. Number 6, the benefits of controlling insulin spikes. When you master insulin control, everything changes, not just your weight, but your energy, your hormones, your mindset. Here are the key benefits, okay? Sustained energy, no more mid-afternoon crashes. You know what I mean? 2 o'clock comes around, you start yawning and you feel like you need a nap. Number 2, reduce cravings, right? A stable insulin keeps hormones balanced. Number 3, accelerated fat burning. This is one of the ones people love the most. Lower insulin allows access to stored fat. Number 4, improve mental clarity. Stable blood sugar equals stable focus. You're going to have more retention, more creativity. You're going to have more focus, right? This is all really, really good stuff. Number 5, better sleep and recovery. Hormone balance. When your hormones are balanced, right, it improves your rest cycles. You sleep better. You have what we call that REM sleep, that regenerative sleep that really, really helps you stay on your toes. Number 6, reverse insulin resistance, right? Some of you guys are suffering from insulin resistance because you're constantly spiking insulin. So what this does, it reduces the risk of diabetes, PCOS, and metabolic disease. This is why the Empty Your Bucket nutrition plan isn't just a diet plan. It's a metabolic reset, teaching your body how to switch from sugar burning to fat burning and how to empty your bucket daily by managing insulin effectively and intelligently. Number 7, the EYB philosophy on insulin is that the Empty Your Bucket nutrition plan idea around insulin is insulin control, right? We want to control insulin. It's not about restriction. It's about rhythm. We want to make sure that people inside of our program are understanding this, that it's not restriction. It's having a healthy balance that provides freedom. So how do we do that? We eat structured meals, right? We keep a cadence of eating every 3 to 4 hours. We prioritize whole foods instead of unprocessed, prioritize whole foods, unprocessed foods. Super, super important, and a big difference between a lot of the programs out there, right? We want to prioritize those whole foods versus, all the stuff that's in a bag, in a package, in a jar. These things can be really, really bad for you. We want to also make sure that from a movement perspective, that you're incorporating slow burn cardio to improve insulin sensitivity. This is also called steady state cardio or zone 2 cardio. This is amazing to really, really improve your insulin sensitivity. There are also certain situations inside of our program where we use fasting windows strategically in phase 1, ideally in phase 1 and 2. This rhythm trains your body to release insulin efficiently and use fat as your primary source of energy, the essence of metabolic freedom. So in conclusion, I want you to take this away from everything I've just said. Your health transformation doesn't begin by counting calories, macros, or points. It begins with controlling insulin. Every time you eat, you're either filling your bucket, right, storing fat, or emptying your bucket, burning fat. The key question is this: is what I'm eating right now helping me store energy or release it? I truly believe that when you learn to live in that rhythm, feeding your body strategically rather than emotionally, you begin to master your metabolism, your mood, and your mind. It is freeing, guys. I promise that for the past 2 decades, I've seen people radically transform their health by incorporating these things in a very intelligent way, so that not only they're losing weight, but they're actually improving their quality of life. They're not just looking a certain way, but they're feeling amazing. More importantly, we have created an ecosystem that makes this very, very sustainable. I'm glad that we had this time together. I hope this brings some clarity around insulin and the power behind mastering that insulin. More importantly, I hope you leave with a renewed sense of what's possible. I think the sky's the limit. And I think that if you sequentially adhere to these principles, you're going to see radical changes in your mind, body, and spirit. My name is JT. I hope you enjoyed this mini course. Talk to you guys soon. Ciao, ciao.